It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody. I wasn't talking to you. So I don't forget.
Oh, such a great start.
Gotta make it interesting.
Yeah, we don't want to be boring. I understand.
Heck no.
Hope everybody's doing okay out there. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy? Liz?
What's funny you say galaxy. I did finally get caught up on The Mandalorian. It came out right as my dad got sick, so I kind of pushed that off to the back burner for a little while. It's kind of something I thought, you know, I've really been wanting to see it, so I wanted to be able to watch it or you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. But I don't even know what I meant there.
Without distractions.
Yeah, without distractions. There you go. It's pretty good. I am really liking the new season.
Is that your washing machine?
No, that would be my wonderful neighbor in his
monster truck of some sort.
I'm wondering, what movie was that? Beverly Hills Cop, where they stick the banana in the tailpipe? You think that really works? I've got some bananas.
I'm sure a lot of people have tried that after that movie came out.
My understanding is the potatoes work better, but whatever. You do you. If you got bananas, use bananas.
Potatoes are in pretty high demand around my
I imagine they are, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, I caught up on The Mandalorian. I'm liking the way they're handling this season. I'm curious if oh goodness, I don't want to get too spoilery because they're only a few episodes into The Mandalorian. So, in the first episode, we'll go there. We do see Bo-Katan, and he teams up with her because at the end of the second season, if you haven't seen that, you should, so I don't care about spoiling it. In the end of the second season, Luke had picked up Grogu, and as a sign of love, Din took off his helmet and said goodbye to Grogu. He'd been taking care of him, and it was a very touching moment. But of course, being Mandalorian, you're not supposed to do that. So in order to, what's the word I'm looking for? Restore his honor, renew, I guess.
Yeah. Atone.
Yeah, atone for what he did. He had to find the living waters of Mandalore. Well, according to myth, the planet of Mandalore was it's like poisoned and, nothing can live there. That's what scattered them and everything else. So we do get a glimpse of that, which was really, really cool. But it does run into Bo-Katan. Now, in this, I'm not sure if they're setting us up for what's going to happen this season or if they're setting us up for what they're about to do with Bo-Katan. Because in part of this atonement, he falls into some water. I won't say if it was, he falls into some water, and in the bottom of this water is the mythosaur, which of course is on all their helmets and it's their insignia and everything else. And I can't remember her name, but like the head honcho chick of the Mandalorian right now had told her, well, sometimes when you're on your path, you see what you want to see. And
The
she's
armor.
like, huh?
The armor.
Yeah, the armor. And, Bo-Katan's kind of like, no, I think I really saw this. I don't think it's a maybe I did, but I really think, this is what I saw. So I'm not sure if we're getting ready on Mandalorian to hunt this thing down because that's part of their myth, their mythology and everything else, or if that's what Bo-Katan series is going to be, is her mission to find this thing. I personally would like to see her do that with Din because they did make a really good team. They're starting to show us more of the Jedi side of Grogu, which I thought was cool because, he did train with Luke. So we're starting to see where that training paid off. If you didn't watch Boba Fett in the middle of this, 2.5 year wait that we've waited for this, I thought it would make a difference, and it really doesn't, because in the first episode, they kind of backtrack a little bit, not making you watch it all again, but they kind of tell you what happened, with the things that's going on. So it's not a rolling text across the screen like Star Wars movie. It's actually, they talk about it and everything else. He also addressed where Cara Dune went, which I thought was very respectful. They needed to wrap that up. She was a main character. Give us something there, at least acknowledge that she's gone. So I thought that was nice that they did that too. But yeah, I'm kind of confused on one of the episodes that they gave us, only because of what was happening in the story of The Mandalorian was happening so fast that it's kind of like they blipped out of space and then it started this whole completely different story. And I'm still not sure if I liked that episode or not. And then, to kind of end the episode, it shows, Din and them blip back out into where they're headed and everything else. So that was, they made it work. But I really think the third episode should have been switched with the fourth. Let us kind of finish that high-paced thing that you had us on, and then kind of give us this little sidestep story. But it looks like, in the second season, I'll back up it one more time. In the second season, we didn't see a lot of Moff Gideon like we did in the first season. He was the main villain. He was hot on their tails every time they turned around. And then it was just kind of like, we see him rise up out of this crash that he had, and that was it. No talk of him, no sign of him, no nothing in the whole next season. So it is kind of nice. In this season, we're starting to hear his name again. We haven't seen him yet, but I do know that's like right around the corner because, like I said, we are starting to hear his name again. We're starting to see things that are tied to him. So that's why I'm kind of curious about the whole Bo-Katan thing. If that's her spinoff, because it really looks like they're shaping this up for a showdown with Moff Gideon again. And that's not anything to do with the Mythosaur or anything. So I think it would be too much because they usually only do 8 to 10 episodes a series or a season. I think it would be too much to squeeze into the remaining episodes that we have. So I kind of hope they pick one and not try to do both. And I really hope that they see that with all the ratings and stuff that I've seen a lot of people talking about it again. I really hope they don't wait another 2.5 years to get us another season. My understanding, Jon Favreau, he has the story. It's all wrote out and everything else. It's just a matter now of of filming it, like that's an easy feat, But so I don't think the weight was because of him necessarily, or let me back that up, not because of the story, but definitely because of him, because he has so much on his plate right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that Disney kind of starts weeding out some of this other chunk and, focus on what people want. And every time they do a Mandalorian, it's been, really popular, even more so than the other spinoffs have been. And some of them have done really, really well. There's just something about this Mandalorian. I caught myself saying it. I kind of wish that what we're seeing with the Mandalorian would have been what they gave us in the new Star Wars movies. I think it would have definitely hit a different tone than what the new movies did, and maybe a little bit better reception on it. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason why people have been drawn to this, because that was just so bad. They wanted, and I won't say bad. I know a lot of people loved the movies. They loved where it took the movies. I will always be the original trilogy person. That's just my preference. But I think with The Mandalorian, it kind of hits that tone of the original trilogy, and that's what people liked about it. So I don't know. Like I said, it's pretty good. It's got me guessing. And, anytime you turn the TV off and you're still thinking about it, they've done a pretty good job. So
They got you.
They got me. Yep. And it's that little Grogu. Oh my goodness. They've got him doing little Jedi flips now. And the only thing I don't understand is he's about the
training that thing had to go through.
Right.
I'm thinking, imagine the poor bastard who had to train the puppet to do that. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, really.
How frustrating that must have been.
That's what you call Sid Baird.
Mm-hmm.
They made him this little, like a Mandalorian chest plate kind of thing. And it's like, with all the little flips that he's doing, because he's about the size of a bag of sugar. It's going to be really hard to be flipping around with all this, metal and junk on him. So I really, really was hoping when she made that for him that she was making him a little helmet, because I think those ears sticking out of a Mandalorian helmet is going to look so adorable. I know it's coming.
Wow.
We shall
But
see.
He can't have a helmet until he can actually say the code, right? Or
Is to recite something?
yeah.
Yeah, they do have to get in the water and recite. I don't know how they would do. I mean, in his own way, he does kind of speak, and Yoda spoke. So that's got to be coming. But I will say in this season, it's not like he's talking, but he is more vocal than they've had him in the past seasons. I don't know if that's to play up on the, oh my God, he's so freaking cute, thing, but.
Right.
So
he's
I
cute,
don't.
but maybe when he opens his mouth, he'll be less cute.
Mm.
Yeah, not so far.
Like human children.
Yeah. They start losing IQ points,
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, they've shown that he's already stronger than Mandalorian children are. And, he's earning his pieces. So I don't know, it should be interesting. Like I said, I'm glad they finally got it put out. And I hope they don't make us wait as long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I did one other thing I did want to update. We talked about all of the shows that HBO was putting on for the children's. I think we talked about Batwings, or I said HBO, when Cartoon Network. One of those shows was going to be by HBO, and it was going to be like a new preschool Scooby episode. And I saw that they canceled that. It's like, man, what the hell's wrong with Scooby, guys? The way they had this planned, it looked like Scooby and his friends kind of thing, kind of like a mystery Paw Patrol kind of group. I think it would have done well. I think it would have done better than the
Supernatural
Looney
Paw
Tunes.
Patrol.
Yeah. I think it would have done better than the Looney Tunes show that they put out. That one was just kind of, I don't know. I hate to say dumb because it is a kid show and it kids are learning,
Kids
but
are dumb. It's okay. You can say
it was bad. And they've also done another one with Paw Patrol where it's Rubble and Crew. And I just don't know. It seems like the newer stuff, it's just so dumb. And, the baby's only 3. She'll be turning 4 next weekend after. Anyways, so it's not like we're on a high bar or anything, but some of it's so dumb that it's boring. And these are some of her favorite characters. So it's like, why are you doing this, guys? You could have just added a few elements to where I guess what both shows are missing is like when they're building something, there's no interaction with the kids. Like, hey, can you find the triangle? And, it kind of it engages the kid to get them to thinking and, looking for shapes and that kind of thing. Both of these shows kind of miss the mark on that. They kind of do the thinking for the kid. So there's no engagement. So then you're just watching a bunch of dumb dogs build a bridge. It's not fun. So I kind of hope they get back to that. But I thought with the Scooby thing they would, and now it's canceled. So they want our kids dumb. But Batwheels is still knocking it out of the park. That's been really cute.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Well, anything that makes Batman look bad, they pull the plug on it pretty quick.
Right.
So it's nice to see that one still going. But yeah, I think, I don't know. I know there's different sets of kids out there because with my 2 boys, they were night and day. Brandon liked the shows that you had to think and, follow the clues around or whatever. And James was more of the, just give it to me. Just show me what you want to show me. But I think with our kid shows, maybe we need to be setting the bar a little higher and make them think. Make them work for it.
Would be nice. I mean, otherwise you're just putting dancing monkeys up in front of them and they're not getting anything out of it other than wasting their time.
Right.
Teach them something. Come on.
Yeah. And there is a lot of like garbage filler TV out there, especially in kids programming. So it's kind of sad when they do take a good preschool show and just kind of dumb it way down, because it's kind of like you're setting them up to watch that garbage later.
Right.
Get them smart. Let them think. And oh my God, speaking of dancing monkeys, guess who's making his comeback? And I don't think I'm ready for this.
Donkey Kong?
Barney.
Oh, right.
Golly, and he looks so...
Hush your mouth.
I know.
Barney,
and then
please.
Barney, and to make sure I saw it, Thomas posted it on Discord for me.
Yeah, that's where
I was like, oh my God. I thought the nightmare had ended.
Oh no. The nightmares never end.
Yeah. And I think I figured out what irked me about Barney. Barney never solved the problem. Barney taught you how to live with the problem, if that makes sense. You're scared of the dark? oh, well, we'll sing a little song and you can do a little, it, there was never any, well, you've got to face your fear and overcome that. It was, well, we'll learn how to deal with it. You can still be scared, but you can be holding a flashlight and be scared, So I think that was the problem, is it was never solving the problem. It was just kind of putting a Band-Aid on it, Can't tie your shoe, get Velcro. That's cool. Your shoe's on your foot, but you never learned how to tie your shoe, And that's what Barney did.
I don't know. I never watched Barney.
Yeah. Thank God.
Oh, I'm perfectly content not having watched Barney. Yeah.
I got it bad. My niece was born, and she watched it for 4 or 5 years.
Oh, that
And
seems
right
like
as
a lot.
she was getting out of Barney, freaking James came along and got into Barney. He watched it for a couple of years, and when he started to get out of it, oh no, I was stupid. I had another kid, and he got into it. So for me,
Do we see the pattern here?
Right. You did figure it out, right?
oh, it wasn't me. But yeah, so there was a period of time there where it was like for freaking 15 years, it was nothing but Barney,
I didn't realize
when I started
Barney
watching
was on
kids.
that long.
Yeah, but when people find out your kid likes Barney, oh, I found the videotape, or oh, hey, look, it's the whole collection.
Oh boy.
Avon sold the tapes for a while. It was like, oh my God.
They know what's what.
Yep.
They know their audience.
So if you go out to my friend's lake house, there's like an immaculate Barney collection out there.
Oh, jeez.
If I find it, I'll take care of it for you. I mean,
That's what I told her. We need to go through some of that, because some of those Disney tapes that we also put out there might be worth something now,
And as for the Barney, yeah, it's a little cold in here.
Yeah. Toss it in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I didn't say it'd be that cruel. Now, if it was Barney himself, oh, I'll help you light that up.
He was just, super de duper. No, it's not Barney. It's really not. But, like, they have that documentary right now, and they're like, oh, I wanted to, I hated him. And it's like, I have a dislike for Barney, but it was only because the kids loved it so much. And I've probably heard every song that sucker sings at least 1,000,000 times, at least. So, there for 15 years, you go to sleep at night and all you can hear is, if all the raindrops. You tend to hate that person who inflicts that on you. But he wasn't doing anything that would hurt the kids. It was manners and, that kind of thing. So you can't really tell your kid, no, you can't watch the cartoon that makes mommy twitch. Freaking Barney.
Frickin' Barney.
Yeah, I thought he would just phase out,
You're not that lucky.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
Mike,
Mm-hmm.
can you get us out of this, please?
I can surely try, but I don't know that I have anything much happier to talk. So yeah, I actually don't have a lot this week. I ended up getting really distracted with a little bit of a family emergency. So my week was relatively boring. I did manage, and here's the tease. I did manage to prep for next week's episode a little bit, which will be fun and have something special in it. So there's your tease, folks. Come back next week for fun and excitement. I mean, we're going to do our best to be fun and exciting this week too, but next week will be extra special fun and exciting. Just saying. I didn't do anything interesting otherwise. So, how about you, Les?
I tapped into a couple of documentaries this week. In fact, it was today. I watched 2 documentaries. One was Harry Chapin, Have Doubt, Do Something, which was his motto. If you have doubt about something, do something about it. This was a 90-minute documentary. It was on both Tubi and Amazon Prime. It was fun to watch. You had clips, you had interviews, you had a lot of interviews with people you wouldn't normally think about relating to Harry Chapin. But it was well worth the time. The only thing that they didn't discuss, and I was kind of sorry they didn't, was the talk about the play he wrote. And that was in the early 80s, I think. Cotton Patch Gospel was one of his creations, which is a really good play. It's a musical. So you get to just dig in and enjoy. The music was up. The story was solid. So, like I said, I'm just sorry they did not touch on that. But getting to see a lot of the music that he did create and have it performed by various artists was pretty cool. The other documentary I watched was completely different. It was called Pennywise, the story of it. And in this they discussed with cast members and other people that worked on the TV movie, about how they faced it, how they had problems and how they overcame them. That was a great watch too, because that was a truly frightening series. To me it was, anyway.
Mm-hmm. It was.
And you've got to remember that this was without the benefit of CGI. Everything you saw was live, and it was fun to watch, to overcome some of the stuff they had to deal with. So I do recommend that one. That was on Amazon Prime, and it may have been on Tubi also, but it was just good stuff. And it
What was it called again?
was called Pennywise,
Pennywise.
the story of it, because Pennywise was the clown, and they had interviews with Tim Curry, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is.
Heck yeah.
Because he doesn't do much. And now you look at who is gone from that cast. It's pretty strange to think that a lot of those people are gone. And I'm not just talking about the characters. Some of those folks were legends even before they did it.
Oh.
So,
We're losing some good ones, that's for sure.
well, like for someone to watch it so we can discuss it, because it's kind of touching at times.
Oh, I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like Liz is already pulling it up now. Which is funny because you talk about the Harry Chapin one. I've actually had that. I think it's the same one. I've had it on my watch list for a while. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Okay.
I've kind of been hesitant to. I was afraid it was going to be sad.
Well, I will say there are parts, yes.
Well, I mean, there have to be because, he's gone. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
I still need to break down and do it.
they also played the song. They finished the documentary with the song that he always used to close his concerts, and that was kind of fun because he always played that same song.
Yep.
And where can this be found again?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yes, both of them were on Amazon Prime, so
Okay.
you want to try them.
Cool. I guess it's my turn. So, I don't really have a lot this week. It's been more kind of working on stuff for upcoming episodes, kind of getting ready for those. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it makes it hard to talk about stuff because then you're spoiling things, and that's no fun.
That's right. Okay. Before we get into this week's discussion, do you want to point out that we do have a Discord. It's open for anybody to come join us if you're a fan of the show and want to hang out with us. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, fun stuff, memes, videos, maybe some trailers for upcoming movies or something, that kind of thing. We have some fun activities on there as well. Discord is free to sign up. The app is free in any app store. We do have open invitation on our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. It's right there on the homepage. So, yeah, come join us.
Yeah.
Please do.
We have lots of fun, and we torture Liz with Barney stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in fairness, she responds by Jensen Ackles stuff. So, I mean,
She does.
I do.
So fair is fair.
No, this isn't fair.
No, all is fair is the way that usually goes.
Alrighty.
Use them at the right time. They fit the theme.
The right time for you is not the same as the right time for us. Because the right time for you is all the time.
All the time.
All Jensen, all the time.
Yeah.
Liz's next podcast
Where's
endeavor.
that streaming service?
Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, Jan. Sure. All right. Believe it or not, it is casting call time.
Woo.
What?
Seems like it's only been a couple of months since we've done one of these.
Mm.
Probably because it's only been a couple of months since we've done one of
It's
these.
indeed been a couple months.
For those who are new to the podcast or are not aware, what we do is I usually come up with an idea for a show, a movie. We even done an animated series. We did Groot animated series. And I come up with a list of characters for us to cast. And it's not always, it's very rarely, today's, in 2023, I've, kind of pick and choose. We've done Avengers movies for the 60s. We continued the Adam West Batman series. We continued the Wonder Woman series, TV series, the Linda Carter series, this, that, and the other. And it just, so I'll come up with a list of characters for us to cast, and then we'll go to work. So for this time, we're gonna disregard the movie that came out a few years earlier, and we're gonna cast our own Punisher movie, and this actually is released in 1996. So yeah, we're forgetting about the Dolph Lundgren version.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered why you conveniently placed it right kind of between the two major Punisher movies. That makes
The
more
good
sense
one,
now.
the bad one.
Mm-hmm. The what?
There are those who see it that way, yes.
Yeah.
What did you say, Liz? I missed it.
The good one and the bad one. So we're gonna cast the mediocre.
Hey, we're going to aim for the middle here, folks.
Just out of curiosity, which one was the good one and which one was the bad one?
Yes.
I'm not for sure which ones take place when, but the order they play them on TV, I'm assuming it's the second one, was pretty bad. I didn't care for the Punisher in that one at all.
The Thomas Jane version?
Let me pull them up.
She's got to see a picture.
Because the very first one starred Dolph Lundgren as Punisher. The next one was Thomas Jane. And then the next one after that.
There was like a decade and a half between them, too.
Right.
Okay. I didn't care for the Ray Stevens one.
I always preferred his performance in Guitar Zan, but anyway.
Yeah. Needs to stick with drunk squirrels.
I got that.
I knew you would, man.
But yeah, some of them, I've seen all three, so.
After seeing 2, why would you put yourself through a third?
Because they always play it right after.
Dude, she wanted to watch the third of those Scarecrow movies, remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was his name? Happy Thanksgiving, motherfucker. It was like, what? I have to watch all of these.
Oh, Lord.
I will say, though, I think out of all of the movies and everything else I've seen, Netflix nailed The Punisher. It was really hard casting this without dipping over into that, because all those guys were alive in '96, but
They were children.
Yeah, they were kids.
They were all in high school.
But the guy now that does it, was it Barthenthal?
John Bernthal, yes.
Yes, it's amazing. That part was made for him, and he nails the psycho in every part he plays. So, I'll in our casting call, I'll to them for theirs, because that was good.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Trying to capture that, I guess I'll kick it off. Trying to capture that kind of vibe, because that's the kind of vibe I'd want my movie to have. 96, I cast Nicolas Cage as my Punisher.
He's going to come
He's
up
another
later
one.
in mine.
He plays a very good psycho. I could see him being villain or anti-hero.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yep.
It's hard to go wrong with Nick Cage, for sure.
Yep.
And for the record, Bernthal would have been 20.
Which is a bit young.
Yeah, because he would have had to have gone through a war.
Right.
But yeah, I think, like I said, I think Nicolas Cage can capture that. Stable when he needs to be, but very unstable when he doesn't.
Right. Well, yeah, he can unhinge himself at will, pretty much. And
Yeah.
It's entertaining. Yep. Nope. No
Yeah.
argument here. He's a good pick for this.
How old was he at the time?
Let's see, Nicolas Cage.
This was the same year The Rock came out, right?
He was
so.
born in 64, so he would have been 32. Fresh in from the war.
Okay. I will jump in here next because y'all are really going to hate me for my pick, but I'm doing it anyway.
Boo, yes.
Because say what you will about him, he was A, relatively popular at the time, and B, making movies not that different from this one. I had to go with Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to forget, if you're talking about forgetting the 89 Punisher, if we want to forget something, let's forget Judge Dredd. But beyond that, he was doing well at making movies like this at that time. This was kind of what he was doing.
Well, and Rambo kind of fits into the same persona kind of that,
right.
Cass has. So
and he can, and he did that well, and he can play
very
that.
well.
I mean, that's an unhinged character too.
Mm-hmm. But a badass when he wanted to be,
Right. That's why I went with Stallone.
Okay.
I like that one. I don't hate you. I like it.
I
hate it wasn't my pick, but
it's almost a little bit of it's almost a too easy pick, but I'm doing it. I did it anyway. I didn't do any too easy ones other than that. So
had I remembered Rambo, I would have went with that too, because they're like the same guy.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, Les.
All right. I went with an actor a little bit younger, but somebody that has shown time and again that he is a badass. That's Kiefer Sutherland.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
He comes up on my list too.
I'm sorry?
He comes up on my list too.
Okay.
Cool.
Sutherland has played a bad guy. He's played a good guy. He's similar to Stallone in that.
Yeah.
He's got a presence.
He does.
I think when he was on 24, he was the epitome of the hero right there.
Yeah. I liked the stuff that he did. Of course, Lost Boys is what first clued me in on him, but I liked all the stuff he did with Young Guns. He could be funny when he needed to be. He could be serious. He got sad. You know, he's got range on him too.
And say what you will about the Disney Three Musketeers from the early 90s. Kiefer Sutherland actually did a pretty good job in that movie. So,
Yeah.
That was like 91 or 92. So.
And to me, he was about the only person that did much.
Yeah, I spent a lot of that movie wishing they would have given Tim Curry more lines, but yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing back to Tim Curry a little bit here. But anyway.
I need to rewatch that one because the first thing that popped up in my head was the Three Caballeros.
The Three Amigos?
No, it was Caballeros.
Yeah, no, it was what, Mickey, Donald, and Goofy?
A parrot. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, I knew what she was talking about. I wanted to throw the Amigos out there.
Three Amigos.
Three Amigos was pretty cool too.
Yeah, well, the Disney Three Musketeers is less good than those movies, but it's still fun. It's entertaining. It's not technically good, but anyway.
Cool.
Okay, I kind of went out there with my choice. I guess I was kind of influenced from the Jane version because I enjoy that movie a lot. So I went with someone who could show flashes of losing it, but is a really good actor and can I think can hold it together. I went with Dennis Quaid.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So
That one too.
I can see that. He's done some good stuff.
He's done some good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, who is next?
All right, my next guy is Microchip. There's a guy that I can see his face even now that I talk about him, but I couldn't find him. I couldn't even think of one of the movies I've seen him in, but he was in everything, and he would have been really perfect.
It's that guy.
It's that guy.
Oh,
But,
yeah. Good choice.
He was kind of the dumpy. He was never a main character, but he was kind of like the dumpy friend that everyone had, you know. So, but
Jason Alexander?
Almost, yeah. I want to say like 80s movies because the glasses that, you know, he wore in the comic, that Microchip wore in the comics and stuff. It was like this guy, but I couldn't remember who he was. So I was trying to think of someone who was pretty smart and could kind of do what Microchip did. And that's where I came up with Kiefer Sutherland. I'm like, we didn't just talk about him.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But if I think of that other guy, I will tell you guys because it's like I can see him. I just can't remember the movie he's in.
It's that guy that was in that one thing where he did that one thing. So
That one thing, yeah.
It's not Wayne Knight, is it? Because wasn't he in one of the...
He was in one of them, yeah. As Microchip.
No, but he could have been like his son. This guy was like in like the John Hughes movies and stuff.
John Cusack?
Please tell me you're not talking about Eddie Deason.
Oh, Lord.
Who?
Good, you're not. That's fine.
I would have voted for that, though.
that would be funny.
Yeah, that would be the comedy version of the Punisher, which I don't think the world is ready for.
Probably not.
No, but he's the guy that's been in everything too.
Hmm.
No, he was kind of like a guy like Ducky. The best friend, but never the one picked kind of guy, you know? Always wore the fake leather jacket, but it wasn't like a motorcycle jacket. It was more of the just jacket kind of thing. I see him. I can see him.
Stop throwing your lighter at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my pencil.
Whatever.
Stabbing it. I know him.
Well, okay, yeah. Let us know if you've come up with a name there. My choice for Microchip. I went with a guy who, yeah, kind of well, not exactly in the same vein, but I was thinking someone with kind of that everyman face. But I also wanted to pick a guy who I knew could stretch out and maybe, I don't want to say expand the role, but fill in the role really well. So given that time frame, I chose Ron Livingston.
Okay.
He's the guy from Office Space, which I believe was the year before this. I think that was 95.
Off Space was 99.
99.
Yeah.
Okay, well, he was a little younger then. Still going with him.
No, I'm not complaining.
I always mess up the year on Office Space for some reason. I'm not sure why. I always think it's older than it was. But, yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
I like that. Yep.
As can I.
Guys. Anthony Michael Hall.
Ah,
That guy.
that guy.
That guy that was in that thing.
Honestly, I could
It's in
see
Halloween, one of my favorite movies,
I-
you know.
I could see him as Microchip, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Les?
For Microchip, I went with someone a little older. Not tragically older, but I decided to go with Bryan Cranston.
Ooh.
Because
Okay.
that guy can flip in a second.
Mm-hmm.
After
Oh.
doing Malcolm in the Middle and such, I think he could play this without a problem.
Right.
Yep.
And then Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like it.
Well, it's funny because it took me a little bit. The face came to me immediately when I started doing this, but I was like, where have I seen him before? Where have I seen him before? Where have I seen? So I had to track him down. And then when I got his name, I was like, oh yeah, duh. But he
And
definitely
Michael Hall, right?
no. How about John Billingsley?
Oh. I like that.
Violence, yep, from Enterprise. Definitely has look, and I think he could do it no problem.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Yeah, I like him too. Yeah.
So
Nice.
Yep. Like it.
It's an interesting range of people we picked for that character. But yeah,
yeah,
That is.
cool.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Pretty cool.
Yep, definitely. Next,
All right. I wasn't real familiar with this character. Kind of surprised, but Lady Punisher or Lynn Michaels. So 1996, they had a TV show called Gladiator, and they had a bunch of badass women on there. And so I was like, that's where I'm going to go, because that would be, you know. That would be where
This is-
Punisher would come
You're
from.
talking about American Gladiators?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where they fight each other with those giant Q-tips.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I forgot that crush on Gladiator was Gina Carino, so I hired her.
Man,
She was
been
cute
fairly
in
young.
'96. Yeah. She was still the smaller framed. That's going to sound so sexist, and really I'm not meaning it to come that way, but if you look at Lady Punisher in comic books, you know, she does have the smaller frame and stuff. Like, that's cute. I like it. Wrap it up. I'll take it.
Cute, huh?
Wow.
She was cute when she was a wrestler, though. She beefed up more when she got into, what was it, WWF? With the big guys. So,
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, this is where I admit that I really never paid much attention to Punisher comics or movies. Just kind of wasn't my bag. So I wasn't particularly familiar with Lady Punisher either.
Yeah.
But I no dummy. I did a little Google imaging and found some pictures and found some art and got an idea what kind of look I was going for here, because I entirely had to go based on look with this.
hmm
And it took me a while. This is actually the one that took me the longest to come up with out of all of these. But in that time frame, I couldn't think of anybody who could pull off a role like that better than Demi Moore.
especially at 96. She was feisty.
Mm-hmm. And G.I. Jane came out in 97, so
Yeah. I like
I
that.
don't want to say these two roles are similar because I don't know that much about either of them. I've never seen that movie, but the idea of a buff Demi Moore, I think, would fit a role like this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Would be interesting. And honestly, she can act a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I like that. I forgot she had done that one too.
Okay. Les?
I liked your idea. And I liked it so much I took the same person.
Hmm.
Mine
That's
or
who I
Liz's?
put in.
Yes.
I think Moore would be the fit.
I she would too.
Okay.
Apparently I was on the right track if Les agrees with me. Good.
Yeah.
Damn straight.
For me, I kind of went out there again on this one. And mainly the main reason is I would love to see her in an action movie where she's kicking butt. I think she could do it now. I really wish she would be given the opportunity. I went with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. She did Catwoman pretty good.
Right. And my sense is that this would be a little more of an action role even than Catwoman.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
so yeah, it would be interesting to see her take on something like that. That would be cool.
And she could stretch.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In terms of acting, for sure.
Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
Neat.
I like that.
Okay, for this next one, this is a character I basically just thrown in because there's not a lot of characters that are like side characters for Punisher unless it's another hero. And I do that for some of the other casts and calls, but I didn't want to do that with this because I wanted to keep it more of the vigilante type of mood and all that. So that's the reason why this particular character is listed. So
Cool. Well, the next one is Linda Carter, and it's not Wonder Woman. It's the Night
not?
Nurse. No, if you cast her, you're wrong. Welcome to my blob nightmare.
Ouch.
No, this is where I was having a hard time getting around the Netflix series because Rosario Dawson does a good, I mean, she like pretty much blows away any part she's been playing here lately. So she nailed this part. And I guess instead of basing it on the comic Night Nurse, I kind of based my opinion on the way that she portrayed this character, which was very sassy, very helpful, but tell you off the whole time that she's, patching your bullet wounds kind of person. And in the 90s, there was a girl was in almost everything, but she had that little annoying kind of voice. And it's like, that's the voice that you only call when you have to.
Wow.
Because you definitely don't want to hear that voice getting on your ass. And I picked Jamie Gertz. And she was in everything.
And that is one hell of a sales pitch for it, too. Holy moly.
From
But
Lost
can't you
Boys?
see her? Look at what you did.
I think she was in that, yeah.
In what?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She's in the Lost Boys.
Remember, she's also We Have Cal.
Yeah, she was in Square Pegs.
She uttered that famous line.
Uttered?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so bad for her in Twister. She was the new fiance. And like when he broke down telling Helen Hunt, I love you, stupid. Can't you see that I love you? I'm out here chasing a freaking tornado because I love you. And she had to hear all of that. It was like, oh my God, your heart just broke for her. The pained expression on her face. I mean, she hit it perfect. You felt really bad for her.
I swear I'm going to have Phil come in there and handcuff you.
Mm-hmm.
My pencil tonight, yep. I wrote notes this time instead of typing.
Okay,
She's
then you
blaming
don't need
the
a pencil now. That's my point. You don't need something to keep beating the hell out of the table with.
Okay, pencil down. Look, I'll put it behind my ear.
Again, right.
Are you
but
taking a test?
She's testing me, that's for damn sure.
You
Okay,
should see all the pretty doodles I've made, though.
Uh-huh.
Okay. How do I mute someone from someone else's microphone? How do I do that again?
I don't know if you can do that in Skype, but we can damn sure find a way to record these that includes a way if we have to. No, I'm kidding. We're not that draconian. Shit. But anyway,
You'll know you love me.
Jamie Gertz, sure.
I had spice.
Too many comments.
Anywho.
Anyway.
Right.
Okay, so Night Nurse. I saw the Rosario Dawson thing, and I was like, okay, I don't want to do that because that's the future as far as we're concerned here. So I, again, not knowing much about the character, I went with someone who I thought has played some really friendly people in movies, and is not unpleasant to look at, which sounds a little sexist, but I mean,
Liz already did it, so I mean,
I think traditionally some of this is sexist anyway, but I mean, you don't get a lady Punisher without some level of sexism. But so I went with somebody who was fairly popular at the time. I went with Heather Graham. Maybe not a stretch of a choice, but I think it would work. She's pretty good.
Yeah, I like it.
I like the choice.
I do too. I like her.
Okay. Les.
I'm going to be sexist about it. I went for a looker, for sure. And the young woman had done plenty of TV, plenty of movies by this time. Brooke Shields.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. She's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think mine's pretty good. She's been around and has done some really good work. I went with Laura Linney.
Okay.
Oh yeah. She's pretty good too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought
And
so.
she's kind of the girl next door type too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool.
All righty. Next.
Okay. Next one is Jigsaw. Once again, I don't know a lot about him, and looking at him, it's, I mean, his face is pieced together, so you're gonna have a lot of makeup on him anyways. So it's really just trying to capture the attitude. And so for my Jigsaw, I went with Ed Harris.
That'll work.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun. He's good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's a good bad guy.
He is a good bad guy.
Yep.
Again with The Rock.
Yeah.
Did I mention The Rock already?
Yes, you did.
I love
He
him
was a
in
good bad
Westworld.
guy in The Rock.
He was the main bad guy in Westworld too. And at times you just, oh my God, you wanted to hate him so much.
But you loved him in Milk Money, right?
She would
He
have
was
if
the
she'd
dad
ever
of that, wasn't he?
seen him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was in The Right Stuff too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
The Abyss.
Oh yeah, that was good. Weird for me to say about a James Cameron water movie, but it was good.
Mm.
It's extremely long, which also, like I said, James Cameron. But anyway. Okay, so I'm going to admit this was I was a little shallow on this one, but again, this is a name we've heard already tonight, and B, someone that you can get away with basically just handing him a picture and saying go nuts. Because I pulled up this guy on, I think it was Wikipedia. I pulled up Jigsaw. Fortunately, it was linked from a Punisher page, so I didn't have to look at that doll from those movies.
Right.
I was
You
careful.
want to play a game.
I was careful. I didn't want to play any games with this. So, and the
Hey, Billy.
and the picture that's on the Wikipedia page, I took one look at that and I said, "That's Nicolas Cage."
Yeah.
So that's who I picked. It was
Okay.
one of the quickest casting call choices I've ever made.
Yeah. Isn't he's got the range to do it.
Oh my God.
He
Totally.
could be either.
Yep.
Interesting.
Okay. Les?
I think Liz said it right. This is going to be a lot of makeup. And since he did a movie that he needed more makeup, I went with Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
After doing his Batman movie, he needed to hide.
He needed a palate cleanser.
Yeah, he did. Kind
Yeah.
of took all that cred he had from the Doors and went, nah.
He did what again? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
I like that
I
one.
like it.
Yeah, I do too. For me, I went. He's done a few bad guy roles. Even more recently for the DCCW. I went with Neil McDonough.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. He's good.
Because I just like him. I think he would be great for that role.
And he too can play either side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was thinking, didn't he play a doctor in some show somewhere along the line too? So yeah, he can do good guy and bad guy.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, next.
All right. This one, I kind of know who he is because he's been on the Netflix series. And I only say that because I cast this guy before I realized that this guy was also on the Netflix series. But that should just show you how perfect he is for this part.
Oh, Lord.
And I casted Vincent D'Onofrio. Now, I strictly cast him off of what he did in Full Metal Jacket. And like I said, after I wrote it down,
Not remembering that it was the same guy.
I didn't
That's
until
funny.
I was
That's
like,
funny. That's actually telling as to how
damn.
good he is, honestly.
Yeah. Because I actually cast my villains on that before I did Rosario. And I guess that's why she stuck in my head. It was like, damn. But when you're right for a part, you're just right for that part. And he still would have been a good age for it, too. So.
Yeah, it could work. He wasn't too
Yeah.
old yet.
Mm-mm.
He wasn't too young at that point, and
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It would have almost been 40 at that point.
yeah.
But you didn't take into account that he had done Adventures in Babysitting?
we try to forget that he's done that.
For shame.
And he wore an Edgar suit and everything too. I mean,
That's
come on.
right.
Yeah.
That was his starring role.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh. Hey, just
He's
shows
just-
the guy's got some range. That's all.
Yeah.
He's pretty
And
good.
with him, he's got that twitchy in his eyes where he can be all calm, but below the surface, it's just bubbling and you don't know when they're going to snap. Kind of like the character he plays on Law and Order.
Mhm.
That, I can be your friend, but at the same time, I can fuck you up and not even touch you.
Mhm.
Which is kind of what Kingpin does.
A little bit.
Alrighty, Mikey.
All right. So this is a weird case of I cast somebody and then I realized I'd screwed up and I had to recast it. Because I wanted to cast the guy who did the voice for him in some animated stuff along the way, but which was Michael Clark Duncan. I'm like, this guy is perfect for this. The problem is that he wasn't famous yet in '96. He didn't hit it big until The Green Mile, which I think was '99.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, I don't know. Didn't really see a whole lot of credits for him before The Green Mile. So I'm like, okay, I have to treat him like he's not in Hollywood yet, basically. As much as I would love to go back in time and discover the guy a few years early for this, because he would be perfect.
He would be.
I decided I had to go with somebody similar, but somebody who I thought would actually have enough range to pull it off, which is tricky. But the guy I ended up choosing is Tiny Lister.
Okay.
Now, this is a guy who who got his start in, I believe it was Friday, was the movie. It would have been a few years before this. As
What was it?
a big thug, Tiny Lister or Tommy Lister.
No, Tiny.
Usually he's known as Tiny Lister, but his real name's Tiny.
Oh yeah. He
Yeah,
was Debo.
yeah, Debo in Friday.
Debo.
He also, and the thing that makes me think he could pull something like this off, he could actually act a little bit, was his role as the president in The Fifth Element, which was in '97. I have always liked him in that movie. That's a fun movie to watch. It's an absolutely batshit crazy movie with Bruce Willis and Mila Jovovich and just all kinds of crazy shit going on. But every scene with Tiny Lister as the president of Earth is just its own little treat. So I picked Tiny Lister to play the Kingpin.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
Alrighty, Les.
Now, I know this person isn't tall, but James Brolin, or Brolin? What's his name?
Josh?
Josh. Josh isn't tall either. They filmed him from angles and things to do the Thanos scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at this and I said, this is a person that could accomplish this role, and that is Tom Berenger.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll buy that, sure.
Yep.
I like that.
I'll buy that for $1.
Yep, that would definitely work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's another one that could play a good mean part.
Yeah, he's just good in general.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for my choice, I picked someone who's known for playing a lot of bad guys, although he's played some good guys too. And matter of fact, a few years earlier, he played a character who was bald and a bad guy and powerful and wealthy and all that, although that was an animated character. I went with Clancy Brown.
Ooh. It's hard to go wrong with Clancy Brown.
The star of Buckaroo Banzai? Yeah.
And Highlander. Not the star of Highlander, but
Well,
The
he
main
wasn't
villain.
the star of Buckaroo either,
Yeah,
but
right.
he was the high point.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think he was
I like it.
like maybe Dexter's dad.
He's done a lot of voice work. A lot of voice work.
Now this was the Showtime Dexter, the serial.
Oh, that Dexter. You said Dexter, and I'm thinking Dexter's Laboratory, and I'm like, I don't
My mind
remember
would've
that
went
being
there, too.
Clancy Brown, but okay.
Because he's also, I think, Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob.
I think you're right. I think it is him.
Yeah.
Didn't he do Lex Luthor on Superman?
I think that's what Tom was talking about.
That was what I was
Yeah.
looking to. but-
Okay.
And I went SpongeBob.
Of course you did.
Does he get to sing on there?
He does on SpongeBob.
As Mr. Krabs, yeah.
That's what I thought. Just like Barney.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think Mr. Krabs loves anybody except for money.
Yeah, except money. And SpongeBob because he makes some money.
And the thing you have to remember about Mr. Krabs is you want to talk about a Bond villain. I mean, what's in a Krabby Patty?
Right?
No one
It's
wants
secret.
to know.
It's
Yeah.
a Krabby Patty. It must be a crab cake of some sort. Mr. Krabs is a crab. He's
Yeah.
killing and selling his own. I'm
He's
just
a
saying.
cannibal. from a lobster trap.
I'm just saying.
We're going to contact PETA as soon as this session is over.
Does
I don't
PETA have an
think they
animated
need to
division? I don't
listen.
know. I don't understand. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna stop now. Clancy Brown, awesome choice.
All right. Next.
Right. I will be honest, I don't know this guy. I almost did the guy, or cast the guy who played Max Headroom, but I didn't do that.
For Tombstone, that might have actually been interesting. But anyway, go ahead.
Instead, I went with another blonde at the time who was kind of a bad guy, and I went with David Spader.
James
Yeah.
Spader.
James
James-
Spader?
James.
Sorry,
Spader.
yeah.
You do
James
it every
Spader.
time.
Why did I do?
You-
Why do
you-
I call him David Spader?
Because there's a guy named David Spade who was a comedian, allegedly. He wasn't a terribly
There you
funny
go.
one,
He,
but
he, he is, he is an evil person, but yeah.
James Spader.
Yeah,
James.
James
James Spader.
Spader. The voice of Ultron.
That would
Yeah.
be funny being played by David Spade, wouldn't it?
Oh,
That would
yeah.
be an entirely different show. And I'm not saying I'm against that idea, but it would be an entirely different show.
After seeing Dickie Roberts, oh, jeez.
Oh, man. Okay.
Help us,
To
Mikey.
follow that up,
Yeah, good luck.
I know as much about this character as Liz does. But again, I went Google Image is your friend, and I went and looked up some pictures and got a description, and I was like, oh, so we're talking about a big mean dude. The person I can think of in that time frame that would do a really good job of this is Roddy Piper.
Okay.
Robbie Piper?
Rowdy Piper.
Roddy.
Oh, okay.
The rowdy one. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We've got enough. We've got a bunch of large people in the show already. Why the hell not, right?
Right.
Bunch of former wrestlers and boxers and stuff.
Yeah. Or that blonde guy from Karate Kid. Who was he?
William Zabka?
Johnny Lawrence. I don't know what his real name is.
Yeah.
That might
No.
be interesting too.
Because
Yeah.
he's on
Or
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
Let's see.
Zabka?
Yes, William Zabka.
There you go.
Ta-da!
Ta-da.
Nailed it.
And for the win!
From downtown. Yes.
At the buzzer.
All right. Let's.
I looked at Tombstone and I thought, well, this could be a role for the former governor of California.
It'll be back.
But I said, no, let's stay away from that because he's already done one bad movie.
Just one. I remember a couple with Danny DeVito.
Well, I do remember one that he did, Hercules in New York. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't have to speak it. He didn't have to
Wait.
speak in that one.
Lucky him.
Well, that would have cost more anyway. So yeah.
For this one, I went and got Joe Montana.
Okay.
Oh. Yeah, he's good.
And that's not Joe Montana. That's
Yeah, Montana.
Joe Montana. in case anybody's looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good.
And once again, you got the prosthetics, to make the man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like him, so yeah.
He's really good.
Well, my pick is one that I like, and he has played some bad guys, and he is so good at it. I went with Ray Wise.
Okay.
Ah, yeah. He's a good bad guy. I think he was the killer in Twin Peaks, wasn't he?
Spoiler!
For a 30-year-old TV show.
Which is older than the movie we're casting.
Right. Yep, I like it.
I do too.
Here, here.
All right, that is our casting call for this time. Once again, it's always fun to see the different ways we go with these characters, because they're the same characters, but we pick up kind of different things about them that leads us to how we cast, and it's always interesting to see, because I always go, oh wow, why didn't I think about that actor? I didn't think about that. That's a cool. So it's always fun to do these.
And then you get cases where, like this one, where Liz picks someone as a good guy and I pick him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's fun to these are good for kind of shaking each other up. We shake each other up quite a bit with these.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like these things.
Like my mom always said, go figure.
She's a wise woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, until she tried to wrestle that Wolverine.
Yeah, well, we can't all be on the ball every minute of every day, you know.
Right. When you think you are, you look around, you see a naked kid.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break, give Mike enough time to get over to Liz's house and tie her hands behind her.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back
Again.
with geek news for you. And we're back. It is time for Geek News for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And this week, it is Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
Yeah. All right. This one, I guess I should do a warning. This will contain spoilers from the newest Harley Quinn comic book that they've put out. I'm not sure if I'm happy about this. They've given Harley a new power. And they're actually, by giving her this power, they've made her the most dangerous person, or what they're calling the most dangerous person in the DC multiverse. Notice they say multiverse. I know that's the route that DC's headed into. And to me, I don't know, I always kind of considered some of it can be interesting, but sometimes they use the multiverse as lazy writing when they can't really explain what they just did and they want to make it go away. Oh, it was Batman 55423. That wasn't our Batman. So sometimes it's kind of lame. But anyways, I understand, and that's cool. Some of it is cool. But this power that they have given her now, she can pull things completely out of the air. Like in one panel here that they're showing, she pulls like a fish from nowhere. And there's like a time god, I guess she is, kind of like, hey, you can't do that because if you take from one multiverse to bring it into another multiverse, you're like crippling the planet. I don't understand how taking a fish from another planet will cripple the planet, but yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah, I guess so. But sometimes, something so small and significant, But I do think it's kind of a crazy power to give her. I don't know where she's gotten this power from.
Read the book.
Yeah, I guess I kind of need to because, and then again, I don't even know if I want to know. The Harley I love was made, kind of the same way the Joker was, and then Poison Ivy kind of like fixed her. I guess fixed her in the sense that, Joker could no longer use like his toxic gases and stuff on her to control her the way he does everyone else. So to me, that's always kind of been her superpower, I guess if you want to say. Of course, her being very nimble and acrobatic and that kind of thing, some of that does come into play from that superpower. And for me personally, that was enough to make her a badass. She didn't need to shoot rays from her eyes or pull fish from the thin air or anything else to make her the badass that she is, And I don't know. I feel like over the years, they've kind of lost sight of that's kind of what made her a badass. She didn't have a superpower, but yet she still stood toe to toe with Batman and almost won, She didn't need that, so it's kind of a shame. I feel, we were talking about the cartoons. I kind of feel like they're dumbing her down to make her important. And before, that's what made her important is she didn't have all the toys and stuff like everybody else had, but she was still kicking ass. So we shall see how bad they make this, power that they're giving her. I'm hoping it's like a glitch and it goes away, or this is Harley 2257 and she goes back to her planet. I don't know, but I just...
Along with Poochie.
Yeah, I don't know. I keep seeing her decline and it's like, let's get back to what made her remarkable before, And I'm sorry, a girl with no kinds of superpower whatsoever to stand toe-to-toe with the Joker and with Batman? Does she need a power to be a badass?
Now, be careful, because this is what happened. That's what they did with Diana Prince back in late 69, 70, when she lost her powers and she basically became like a Emma Peel in the white suit. And there was a lot of people, especially a lot of women or girls and women that were upset that happened.
She was just a regular woman?
She was, well, yeah, but I mean, she had martial arts and she could fend for herself and all that, but they made her powerless.
I think the moral of the story is that we love the characters that we love and we don't want to see them change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the deal is they want to change them because they want to broaden the audience. And so they're going to continue to do that. And you have the choice as to whether to buy the new book or not.
Yeah.
Well, and let's be real here. She's not gonna have that power that long. It's just like when they kill somebody or they break up a couple, that kind of thing. It's to spur sales. It's to spur interest. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
And out of all the powers they could have given her, really?
Don't fixate on the fish, Liz. Don't fixate on the fish. Let it go.
Question is it
trying
joker
not
fish?
to.
Were the fish laughing?
I mean, well, no, see, here's the thing. She's only able to pull cartoon stuff. Like, so this fish was like a cartoon fish. It's not like just in a comic book fish. This was a cartoon fish
See,
that
that
she
sounds
pulled.
like an exactly Harley Quinn thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
it meaning anything will last all of about 15 pages, and it'll be over.
Yeah.
And then whether
Sure,
she
it'll
can
be
still do
something.
it or not will be fun to see, maybe. But beyond that, whatever.
I'm hoping it's temporary, you know?
It makes the most sense for it to be temporary.
Yeah. Because like, there's just some people that don't need that. Like Batman. We don't need a Batman running around with powers. He's badass enough without them. He's made himself that way without them. And to add a power on top of everything he's done just kind of dumbs him down.
But
So.
imagine if he could just pull any cartoon item he wanted to out of his utility belt.
Oh, yeah. Little squishy hammer. Squeak, squeak.
Uh-huh.
Then they call him Wile E. Coyote.
Uh-huh.
Oh, my goodness.
Wile E. Coyote. Genius.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Super genius.
Super genius. I like the sound of that. I throw that line at my kid a lot, so. Because I'm a genius.
All right. For my article, a couple weeks back, maybe not even that long ago, I had posted something in Discord regarding that editors are going back and redoing some of Ian Fleming's novels to take out some of the offensive words and terms and all that from the James Bond novels. Well, guess who's next on the list? Agatha Christie. Apparently HarperCollins is going back and they're going to strip, quote, descriptions, insults, or references to ethnicity, particularly for characters Christie's protagonists encounter outside the UK, end quote. This will also involve Hercule Poirot's stories.
Yeah, I bet.
Example that's been given in the article is in the book The Death of the Nile. There's references to quote unquote Nubian people. That's gone. Instead of using the word native, they're gonna use the word local, and this is just some of the few examples. Apparently, Ronald Dahl has also been the victim of this.
Yeah.
I had not read about that, but so the newer editions of these novels will be reworked, or either the words that would be changed, or just some of that will be removed from the book. I understand the thought, and it talks about that there's, right here at the end, it was talking about in February that publishers, the Puffin, which is publishers of Dahl's books, are removing stuff that they deemed offensive. And then they eventually came back and said, well, we'll release two versions. We'll do the original version and then one that's going to be amended for a little bit more kid friendly or that kind of thing. I understand the intent, but I'm reminded, especially since I've been watching them recently, of the Charlie Chan films. I've got some of them on. I've got like sets on DVD, and once you start watching the film, it starts with an advisory, and it talks about, hey, look, this is how things were back then. This is how, particularly the Asian people were portrayed back then, and hey, things are different. We know better now, that type of thing. Can't they do that for these books and leave the books originally as they were written, but just with advisory saying, hey, that was a different time when they were written.
Mm-hmm.
We know better now.
We should.
This is a really slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
Because
censorship usually.
You're dancing on the line between censorship and attempting to eradicate ideas that really should be eradicated.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to know how to do that because it's not something as a society we've ever done. So we don't know what we're doing. We're making stuff up as we go. Not surprisingly, it's going to be large corporations that take the lead on this because they're the ones that have the resources to do it.
Right.
So, and the deal here is that you're going to piss off people along the way. And then those people are going to have to sit down and think about why they're pissed off.
Yeah.
And figure out how that's going to work, how they're going to live with themselves about that. There's not an easy solution here. There really isn't. The deal is, how are we ever, I'll use racism as an example. How are we ever going to get rid of racism if we don't stop presenting racism to children, basically? Mm-hmm. How do we get rid of it if we keep telling them about it?
Well, at the same time, you can't blot it out and pretend like it didn't happen either, though. You know?
Right.
You've got to learn if you never hear of the consequences of what happened. I mean, I use slavery here as an example. If you didn't hear the trauma and the abuse that they went through, to the understanding that we have, moved forward now of knowing, hey, you can't treat people that way. But if you don't tell people of the stories of what moved us that way, you can't. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say this without it sounding bad, but you can't forget where you came from or what made you want to change. And that seems to be what people want to do. You want to forget that part, but you want change. Well, you've got to remind people of why. You've got to remind them of the Rosa Parks and the Martin Luther Kings and the Malcolm X's, of people who were hurt during this. But by taking that away, you're taking those people away too. We need to hear those stories. We need to remember where we came from. And sometimes in a book, it even that shows us how much we've grown from that, because now we know, hey, we don't do that. That's not the right thing to do. But in the time period of Mark Twain, nobody thought twice about writing things like that or how it would hurt somebody else, or, and it shows in a small way. It kind of does show the growth that we've had from that, because now we know that's wrong, But if you completely take it away, what have we grown from? Kids today don't know that.
But my thinking here, and I'm just throwing out ideas. Like I said, there's no good answer to this. But the logic that I'm trying to follow is, but if we never teach our children that we were racist, mm-hmm. they never learn to be racist.
Mm.
Unless we teach them to be racist.
Yes and no.
And this is where you get into the problem where every individual parent has the control to do this. And believe me, I know
Yeah,
it's not necessarily a great thought,
right. You would
but it's
have to
one of
have
the
every parent
thoughts
do
out
that.
there, and you can't control every parent.
Yeah. And kids, oh my God, they're so brutally honest. And I mean, if people say they can look at another person and not see a color, I mean, you're kind of wrong. You know, it's not that the color matters, but you notice things like that. Even, you know, for a kid, 20 times worse, you know, and they don't hold back. And as a parent, my kids have said things that I wish they wouldn't have said. It's like, where the hell did you learn that? So it's not always necessarily a learned thing from the parent. Kids learn from other kids. They learn from experiences. They learn from differences. And that's where parents come in to be, you know,
To guide them away from the differences and
yeah,
towards the
we are
commonalities.
different, but we're the same, you know.
Hmm.
And those
Yep.
differences is what makes everyone beautiful, you know, because we are different.
I'm not different. I'm just kidding. I'm entirely different, believe me.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I said, it's a hard one,
it
and so it's hard
it
to know
is.
how to handle it. And the publishers
And I
are,
know to a lot of people it's just words and it doesn't matter if they've changed or anything, but from books to chipping the penis off the Michelangelo because it offends people now, it's like,
well,
where
now
do
we
we
got a
stop?
title. Jeez.
Yeah.
No, I would never make that the title.
But it's like, where does it end? You know?
Well,
And,
where
you
does it
know,
end and where does it
songs
begin?
and books,
And can you tell
that
the
was
same
the
stories
original.
without those things? And does it mean the same thing? And there's just endless questions about that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
none of the four of us are qualified to answer any of them.
No.
And so, you know.
I've always felt that censorship in any form is ugly. And whether I agree with what they're trying to censor or not, I never think that any kind of censorship is a good thing. We should never allow someone else to tell us how we should feel about something or that we can't handle a certain thing, which is happening right now in all of our libraries, which is sickening. But it's like you said at the beginning, it's a very slippery slope. And once you start heading down that, we'll be back to the times of burning books. And it's ugly. It's ugly. You don't like it, don't read it. Don't let your kid read it. You know,
Now,
move
when
on.
that Harley Quinn book comes out, guys, I get to play this back for her, right?
No, see, that's the difference
No,
between
it is.
what my mom calls a funny book and classic pieces of literature that now they're saying is wrong, you know, and it's like,
Hands.
it's just, it's yucky.
It is, and it like I said, it's really dangerous, and it gets really weird really fast.
Really fast. Yeah.
Yep.
Les, your thoughts?
I too am against book banning, but I remember when I was in college, I was home visiting, and my mother asked me if I'd ever heard of a book called Slaughterhouse-Five. I said, yes. She said, can you get me a copy of it? I said, why? What's the deal with Slaughterhouse-Five? She heard that the libraries in North Dakota had removed them from their shelves because of the content. I went, okay, Mom, I'll find you a copy, which I did. She read it, looked at me and said, what is so wrong with this? I said, I don't know. what was their excuse for it. She tried to give me an excuse, and it was so freaking lame that I saw then that the banning of books is bad, but don't try to control the narrative by tossing known crap out there to fill the supposed void. So.
Yeah.
But so many people throw known crap out there all the time anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway. Again,
Yeah, I'll agree.
For every good book, there's a million bad ones.
True.
Yes.
And even, honestly, even a lot of the bad ones have merits. Don't get me wrong.
I would say, yeah, any time someone can express themselves is a good thing, you know? I don't think that should ever be censored. And I'm speaking as art, you know, someone flashing people on the street, that's not art. You know, I think some things should just be left alone and leave it at the original thought, the original expression, the original feeling. You know, you start changing things and it changes meanings and it changes feelings, and yeah. There's a book they took and put on the banned list. It's called The Art of Racing in the Rain. They've made a movie since out of the book and everything else. But when I heard that book had made the banned list, it was kind of like, did I miss something? You know, it's the story of a dog. Well, it's the story from a dog's perspective. And I'm still not quite sure why they've banned the book. I guess because the guy is dying of cancer, and you kind of have to deal with the death and the grieving, and, you know, you have to accept that a dog can think. And, you know, I guess the free expression is what they didn't like and why it was banned, you know. I just didn't, I never understood that one. Some of them you can see it's kind of a touchy subject, but death, you know, I don't know.
Okay. Any special shout outs or mentions this week?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Les.
Just follow us next week, since we've already had a tease on it.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Next week should be fun.
Yep. Next week should be a lot of fun.
We will finally get resolution on something.
I wouldn't go that far, but anyway. I'll go ahead and go on with our regular shout-outs. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be a part of a great group of fellow podcasts. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in the show notes. We also want you to check up the fine men and women who make up Podern Family, who've been so kind enough as to spread the word of the fellowship by retweeting our links. And the best way to check them out is to go to Twitter. Yes, I know. Go to Twitter and do a search, hashtag Podern Family, all one word. Just scroll through whatever catches your attention. By all means, click on that link and download that episode. We hope you have a good time listening to them. Thank you guys as always. I want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. In the show notes, there will be a link where you can check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you. Thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any comments, questions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. There are several ways you can do that. email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or go to the website and go to the About Us page. There's a contact form you can fill out. If you join our Discord, we do have a feedback section where you can post your thoughts there. Social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks, pardon me for that. Instagram and Twitter and Hive Social, we're under @FellowshipGeeks. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We do appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @FellowshipGeeks. Until next time,